Now, I've reviewed so many fragrances from the brand Carner Barcelona. They have a lot of really wonderful, heavy, rich, balsamic fragrances. Elborn is one of my favorites. They also have fragrances like Bobo, I believe it's called. They're very bright, airy, citrusy, perfect for the summertime. Here we have a fragrance called Revolucion. This one is a leather-based fragrance. So as you can imagine, this is one that can be worn very comfortably in the fall and winter. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this fragrance released from Carner Barcelona, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on Revolucion by Carner Barcelona, of course, a brand that is based out of Spain, I'll tell you about the notes, the performance, the smell, comparisons to other popular designer or niche fragrances, all that good stuff. But if you like this type of content, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and give this video a thumbs up. It would really mean a lot to me. So here is the box presentation for Carner Barcelona. Revolucion is the name of the fragrance. It's eau de parfum strength, and it is a 3.4 ounce bottle. The notes are conveniently printed on the back of the box. So in the top you have thyme, orange blossom, and an oxygen accord. I thought that was quite interesting. In the heart you have saffron, mate tea, and violet leaf. So perhaps it's going to be a little spicy, a little herbal. In the base you have Texas, cedarwood, Somalian incense, and a leather accord. Now on the inside of the box, it does refer to it as a rebel fragrance with metallic and leathery notes. So that's kind of the vibe that they were going for. Of course, with a name like Revolution or Revolucion, they're going for something a little bit more rebellious, a little bit more on edge, something that is not conforming or conformist, so to speak. So in any case, I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this spicy, herbal, and somewhat incensey fragrance, but let's go ahead and start things off with a quick look at the presentation. So of course, in the opening of this fragrance, you are going to get an abundant amount of leather. And the leather comes in the form of saffron, of course. I've mentioned this on my channel so many times. Saffron is used in the synthesis of a leather accord. So of course, the saffron, that spicy edge, does kind of offset some of the other brighter notes, I suppose, like the orange in the opening, or the orange blossom, I should say, the aromatic thyme, even though the thyme works hand in hand with the mate accord to kind of give it like this smooth, herbal, aromatic appeal, but the leather, or I should say the saffron, is still up front and center. You're going to get a lot of saffron from this. If you've tried other saffron-based fragrances, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. There's also another one by a brand called Mendito Rosa, which is an Italian brand. They have a fragrance called Alfa, A-L-F-A. That fragrance also has a lot of aromatic ingredients, including saffron, if I'm remembering correctly. And this is kind of giving me a similar vibe, if you will. Now, the dry down, in addition to the Texas cedarwood and the Somalian incense, you have the leather accord. Of course, that's the same thing you're going to find in the heart, I suppose, unless there are some other ingredients being utilized in the base to kind of amplify or augment that leather accord. So here's the thing. If you are familiar with fragrances like Tuscan leather, if you know what the leather in that fragrance smells like, that's what you're going to get in this one as well. So it's that Tuscan leather type of a leather, ombre leather, Duetto Parfum, Golden Boy. There have been a lot of fragrances that kind of utilize that leather accord, and I think this is yet another one to add to the mix. At the same time, though, I think this does do things in a slightly more interesting way. It doesn't have the raspberry in here, and of course you smell Tuscan leather. It kind of has like this leather raspberry combination, thus making it a little fruity. You're not going to get that from this one. However, you are going to get that aromatic mate and the thyme. So I think that that's really interesting. It kind of creates like this aromatic ethereal oxygen accord, like it says in the top notes. So it does kind of create like this bright, sort of luminous opening that eventually settles into this base of cedarwood, incense, and leather. So it opens up brighter than Tuscan leather, and it settles darker than Tuscan leather, which is really interesting because you don't expect it to go in one direction or in both directions. You expect it to go in one or the other, but you're actually getting a little bit of both from this. So I think that's pretty interesting if I'm being honest with you. So Revolucion is an amazing leather-based fragrance. If you are a fan of fragrances like Tuscan leather or ombre leather, or a lot of those leather-based fragrances that utilize that similar accord. Of course, more recently, we've even had this one by Goldfield and Banks called Purple Suede that utilizes this same leather accord, but try it for yourself. You'll see what I mean by it being brighter in the opening, settling to something darker. And I just hope you have the opportunity to sample it. I'm going to drop all of the relevant links down below to make it easier and more accessible for you guys at home. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, like I said, it does bear similarities to Tuscan Leather by Tom Ford, but it does do its own thing. It opens up brighter, settles down to something darker, the orange blossom, the thyme, the tea accord, and then of course you also have the violet, which kind of adds like this airy component in the heart. Really interesting. Longevity on this one is about 10 hours. Projection was great for the first hour of application. It radiated within an arm's length. It became an elbow's length scent right around hour 6 or 7, a skin scent right around hour 10. In terms of the versatility, some people might argue it's masculine leaning, especially once you give it a chance to dry down. But of course, I think it's perfectly unisex. If you like the way that it smells, please do me a favor, go ahead and wear it. I think this one is great for the colder weather, so fall and winter. I think this one is great for formal scenarios as opposed to casual. Casual, I would probably wear something a little more subtle, especially if you're going to be working in an office setting or something like that. And this is perhaps going to work a little bit better for somebody who's a little bit older as opposed to like a high schooler or a college student or something like that. And the presentation, I told you what the presentation looks like, and I told you how I feel about it. Wooden cap, pretty heavy bottle. I do really enjoy the aesthetic of the brand, and I really do like the name Revolucion. My final verdict on this fragrance is I think it's an awesome leather-based fragrance that gives us a dose of familiarity, yet still manages to do things a little bit differently. I think it's a great release given the fact that we are entering the colder months now. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my review of Revolucion by Carner Barcelona. If you did, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up. It's an awesome leather-based fragrance. Once again, all of the links are going to be dropped down below in the description box. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys. We'll see you tomorrow with a new episode. Bye.